G'day, we're down here at the Southport Spit and I'm here with Ben from Pt2 and we're going to South Stradbroke Island to check out some of the sites. But first, Ben, tell us a bit about the craft that we're taking out.
Well, we've got a couple of PWCs here today to get on the water. We'll go for a run up to tipplers. We'll show people the lifestyle associated with the product, and most of all, we'll have a good time.
So we've got another jet ski to put in the water, so let's get out there and let's do it.
Let's do it, let's go.
When launching your jet ski, take it nice and slow on the ramp and remember to keep the trailer and vehicle straight. Getting into a PWC will take a little preparation beforehand. You'll need the correct boat licence, which you can obtain during a 2-day licence course, then additionally earn a PWC's licence in a day's training. You'll also need to make sure you have the right gear before you head out on the trip. The correct life jacket, water and plenty of sunblock. Haha, and a pair of floating sunnies will serve you well, as I learnt the hard way. Tipplers is located 20 minutes away from the Spit, and with weather like today, there's plenty of shelter from that real nasty wind. While the main site is under construction and development, the beach kiosks and facilities are still open and camping is permitted via the Island Ranger. South Stradbroke Island itself offers calm inner water on the side and virtually untouched native bushland in the centre. And on the other side, 22 kilometres of pristine surf beach. We grab a bite to eat before heading back to the beach.
So we've made it over here to South Stradbroke Island. Ben, tell us about your trip over here.
The trip was fantastic. You know, it took us about 20 minutes to get here. We went out in the Gold Coast Seaway, had a bit of a play around, and then shot up the inland waterways. Although it wasn't the most fantastic day for it, you know, we had a pretty dry, comfortable ride. So here we are.
And no bumps, not too bumpy out there today?
Yeah, it's a little bit bumpy, but the latest generation PWCs, they really soak that up. You know, it's they're a bigger ski than what they used to be. They carry 3 people, so you've got a lot of creature comforts, which take a lot of that harshness out of it to make it quite an enjoyable ride.
So it makes it a little bit more fun when it's a little bit more bumpy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Marty, tell us about yourself. Have you been to tipplers before?
No, I haven't. First time here. But my riding, I do a lot of riding from Caloundra all the way down to the Gold Coast Seaway, and everywhere in between. So first time here though, to stop and grabbed a pie and had a bit of a feed and a bit of a laugh. It was good.
And Chris?
This is actually my first time here as well. Very impressed with such a simple ride over too, which I thought was great. Yeah, first time I've been on a ski for quite some time as well.
Now, how do these machines handle out in here in the water today?
I have to say, from my point of view, for the first time in such a long time being on a ski, just fantastic. It's so simple to ride them. I was really worried that it was going to be something a little bit hard, but it turned out to be so much easier than what I expected.
Excellent. And Ben, how long have you been riding jet skis for?
Oh, look, I've been into the skis for probably about 10 years now. Sort of rode them when I was a lot younger. The thing I really enjoy about the products though is that they can be a lot of things to a lot of people. You can throw your family on them, you can ski behind them, you can wakeboard on them, or if you just want to shoot out by yourself or with a bunch of mates, you can jump on them and go for a run around the island. So they're a really versatile craft to get out and enjoy the waterways either by yourself or with a family.
Are they easy to get? Is jet skiing easy to get into?
There's new licensing laws with the skis where you need to get a dedicated PWC licence, which they can tack onto the back of your boat licence. So a 1-day course will get you a PWC licence, and then it's pretty much just going to your nearest dealer and doing a deal on one and getting out there and enjoying the benefits of it.
What about the safety gear? Is there a lot of safety requirements involved in jet skiing?
Well, obviously you have to wear your PFDs, okay, either a 3 or a 2. Recommended that you carry some flares, an anchor and fire extinguisher and that sort of thing. But with the latest generation of craft, they're 4-stroke these days. They're very, very reliable and very, very simple to maintain.
Now, what's the difference between the PFD 1 and 2s? You'll see you've got a couple of different variations here.
The one I'm wearing is a PFD 3 because it's dark in colour. Marty's wearing a PFD 2 being in the bright red. That'll allow you to actually go offshore on a PWC, whereas what I'm currently wearing, I've got a limit to how far I can go sort of out past South Stradbroke Island.
So you've got certain limits offshore and how far you can go out?
Yeah, I think the scope of boating that's offered by the inland dams is certainly something that's been more and more attractive to the population, and the scope of boating that it offers, from sailing to the kayaking, to the smaller boats, to the caravanners with their car toppers. to the skiers and the wakeboarders. That's certainly an element that's growing. And I think for the beginner boatie, you know, the inlands, there's a few things that you don't have to factor in. So you don't have tides and tidal movements. Sandbars, yeah, absolutely. And also density, population. So for those that might be a little bit nervous about just tipping their toe into their first time of use of their boat or their sailing boat or their kayak,
great option.
Just a little bit way of just doing it on your own without sort of feeling that you're crowded. So I think with the recent rains, you know, the dams have never looked so much more attractive.
That's right. Are there any requirements or anything you have to prepare your boat differently if you go on freshwater than saltwater?
I think with the dams, the biggest thing to be aware of, there are dams that are basically, well, to say that they're combustion-powered engine friendly, which means they can have an outboard engine, I suppose, or an inboard engine on them. And then there are dams which are purely sail-orientated or electric outboard only. And that's probably the first thing to be aware of. And then in regards then to preparing your boat, no, I think obviously the safety obligations are much the same. But again, that would be something you'd want to check with the local authorities and Marine Safety webpage as well.
Have you got any favourites that you can share with people? Any favourite locations?
Well, I love the southwestern dams, so Maroon Dam, Mugra Dam. Yeah, those dams down in that part of the country, and because part of the day out for me is there's a nice little antique trail out there, so we go out and see a few antique stores and a couple of nice little cafes, and then out on the water and nice drive back into the city. So
it's certainly a bit more rustic than the glamorous marina, you know, life.
Absolutely.
Do they have a marina culture on inland waterways?
Not so much marinas, but there are certainly a lot of facilities there. So a lot of barbecue facilities and toilet facilities, and even caravan camping facilities and cabins. And,
so it could suit a weekend getaway or a long weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, definitely weekend getaways, and it's a community based. I find when you're out at the dams and things, so you indulge yourself in the community, and you can go to the boona to get supplies and all of that sort of thing, and meet the butcher and it's
that heritage link.
Yeah, and it's just a different getaway. And
bushwalking. Yeah,
there's plenty of bushwalking. Some people even ride their trail bikes and that sort of thing out there as well. So it works for all the family. I know.
And maybe appeals to a different mindset.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I mean, for me, it was quite an insight in that I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed water skiing. You know, I grew up with a pair of Freddie Williams skis that were about this long when I was 6. And I hadn't done a lot of skiing, and to get up again, first go after 20 years and those sorts of things was quite a shock. But, hey, you can still do it. And so I've said to all of our kids, you've got to get in there and you've got to learn how to do this, because look at me. I can
go
back.
Riding a bike.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you forget how much you enjoy those childhood memories and things. And for me, it's even better than what I remembered. So you just... it's just awakening yourself again to